When I was 4 years old, I wanted to be Barbie. And I didn't want Ken or the dream car. To me, Barbie meant options. One day she's an astronaut, the next she's the president, and the next a princess. To me, Barbie was my way of expressing that I saw no reason to limit myself to one thing when I could just choose to be everything. And everything was a viable career option when I was 4 years old. This innocent logic is powerful. When we're young, the world hasn't placed its limitations on us yet. And as you grow older, it's often the voice of younger you telling you to speak up, to stand out, and to help keep your head in the clouds when the world tries to bring your feet to the ground. When we're young, we believe we can be or do anything. When do we stop? My mother is a travel agent of 27 years. My father was an active duty Marine for 23 years. My sister is a travel agent of 5 years, and I am a travel blogger. Safe to say, travel runs in the fam. And growing up in a military community, travel was normal for everyone around me as well. So when I moved back from Okinawa, Japan, to a small town in Virginia when I was 10 years old, my idea of normal was flipped upside down. I was miserable. And I never felt like my ideas were fully understood by my peers or my parents. I felt like I was walking around in shoes 2 sizes too small for who I knew I could be. This is often what happens when it's time for us to take a chance, try a new path, or to prepare for what's to come. In my case, I didn't know exactly what that would be, but I knew I wanted to prepare myself for the life I knew I wanted instead of settling for the life I had. Prepare for opportunities even when you can't see them. And then, almost back to back, 2 life-altering events happened to me. I was halfway through my senior year of high school when my father got an email from a local veterans organization saying they had a scholarship for dependents, like me, who were heading to college soon. It was a simple application, 1-page essay, letter of recommendation, academic transcripts, and to my surprise, I was selected as an awardee. A few weeks later, there was an award ceremony where military officials, scholarship organizers, and the awardees all came together to shake hands and take photos. But one conversation with one of the scholarship organizers has really stuck with me. I was thanking him for the scholarship when he replied, "Oh, you're welcome. It's a shame more people didn't apply." And he could see I was puzzled, and he tried to backtrack and said, "Oh, no. What I meant to say was, congratulations, you deserve the scholarship. It's just, we had 14 scholarships available, and only 12 people applied." And so I thought, so if 2 more people who met the qualifications had just known about this and had taken their chances and applied, it's likely they would have won as well. How many more opportunities are out there collecting dust, unclaimed? So I went on and I graduated from high school and I committed to the university where I would spend the next 4 years. Okay, 4.5 years. And somehow, that summer, between high school and college, I was restless. I felt this indescribable urge to do something drastic. I'd felt so limited and stifled the past few years. I knew I wanted to do something that would disrupt the mindset I'd gotten into so I could go into college my optimal self. And that's when I saw my opportunity. I was on my soon-to-be university's website when I saw that, for the first time in like 10 years, they were hosting an international trip that summer. I never had actually been to the university that I was going to attend, but I called them anyway to see if I could go on the trip. They said I would be the youngest by quite a few years, but technically, any student who was accepted to the university and had a student ID could go. So the next day, I drove down, got my student ID, and a permission slip for my parents to sign because I was not yet 18. And next thing you know, I was flying by myself to Reykjavik, Iceland, where I would spend 2 weeks backpacking and exploring the city with a group of strangers I had never met. I guess I had not really thought about how far 35 miles was to backpack in 4 days, so that was an interesting physical challenge. And I'd forgotten my sleeping bag, so I had to sausage into the sleeping bag of another girl who was on the trip, and I had somehow forgotten that I hate the cold. Anyone else's trip might have been ruined, but I was the happiest I'd been in a long, long time. Because to me, travel is living. With every country I visit, language I listen to, and culture I experience, I feel like I'm discovering a new version of myself. So I had this idea that if I could combine the underutilized resources I'd found in scholarships with my love of travel, maybe I could see more places and do more things during college than I'd ever expected, college or beyond. So I began applying to literally everything I could get my hands on. And I ended up applying to more than 200 scholarships, grants, and travel contests from the age of 17 to 21. And I won around $70,000, which helped me to see the world. From Dubai to Sri Lanka to the Republic of Georgia. I did all of this as a full-time student with only a part-time job, in my confidence that there had to be something amazing out there available to me. I just had to be creative and dedicated in finding it. But throughout it all, and really to this day, I could never forget about that first scholarship in those 2 unclaimed spots. If only they'd known. So now I do my part to help make these opportunities known by sharing them everywhere I can, all the time. On my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, email, I do everything but literally scream them from the rooftops. But I found that awareness is really only half the equation. Inspiring action is a lot more difficult. Recently, I ran a poll on my Instagram because I wanted to know if there was anyone who sees me sharing these opportunities and somehow had never applied to a single one. I wanted to know why. So I made a 4-part poll of the most common reasons that I've seen through experience. And what I found was that a ridiculous majority of my audience dooms themselves before they even apply. They see these opportunities and they think, that is so great for those other people. Things like that don't happen for me. You are often keeping yourself out of a room that is waiting to welcome you. Believe me, if you're confident, even if it feels delusional, you will put yourself into spaces where opportunity can find you. Give yourself permission to live in your possibilities. Retrain your brain to see requirements more as suggestions. And make your mantra, I'll see for myself, as you put your name in every hat and knock on every door you find. Be confident. Be delusional. And if you're not there yet, borrow some of the delusional confidence that I have in you until you're able to fully rise. Just promise me one thing, that when you do get there, you'll reach out and lift someone else up in the same way. The world needs more of that. Thank you.